today we remember the 140 people who died at work in 2019 and the many others who were injured. I'm committed to making workplaces in BC the safest in the country. Nobody should lose a loved one in a preventable accident. And I, for one, will not rest until all workers in BC come home safe and healthy at the end of their shift. I think everyone recognizes these are exceptional circumstances we're living under. And it can be hard to think about the future while rooted in the challenges of today. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty. A lot of people feeling vulnerable to the health risks and economic threats caused by COVID-19. And in the context of Day of Mourning, I would be remiss if not to recognize the dozens who have recently lost their lives to the virus and those in the province who are grieving profoundly. And I see my job as trying to strengthen the safety net so there's no instances to grieve, particularly at work. Because workers deserve to return home from the job in the same condition they went to work with. Injuries shouldn't come at the cost of a paycheck. And no paycheck is worth the cost of a life. It's important to remember those who have lost their lives or been injured on the job. And also remember the families and friends who suffered in consequence. So today we take pause to remember. But while we remember, let us also look ahead. We must in remembrance make certain no loss was in vain, and vow to make gains from each loss, to continue championing workers' protection, where everyone's assured their safety at work every single day, especially now amidst COVID-19, when workers' safety and job protections are paramount. That fight is what drives the work of my ministry. I just want to end by saying thank you. Thank you for allowing me this year to join you by video. And please stay safe and healthy in the weeks ahead.
Last year, 140 workers in BC lost their lives to workplace injury or disease. Today, we pause to remember them and to hold their family and friends in our thoughts and in our hearts. I am sure you will agree that even a single life lost due to workplace injury or disease is one too many. You have just heard from the BC Minister of Labour, and you will hear from the BC Federation of Labour, BC Business Council, and the Vancouver District Labour Council. We partner in this event each year, and it was important to us all to find a way to continue to mark this important day together. Historical asbestos exposure continues to be the cause of the majority of deaths related to occupational disease. We need to remain diligent in our work to ensure that today's workers remain safe from this disease in the future. We know that workplaces across the province are evolving, and so are the safety challenges. Those challenges include mental health, opioids, and the evolving definition of workplaces. We will need to work together to find innovative solutions to these and other challenges. Today, in the middle of this global pandemic, we come together as we do every year to commemorate those we have lost and to recommit ourselves to keeping workers in BC safe and healthy. We are reminded of the impact we have on each other, as well as the power of what we can achieve when we work together for the greater good. Let's all do our part in keeping each other safe today and every day. Thank you for joining us in spirit today.
Today we remember workers who've become ill, become injured, or who've lost their lives because of their work. And this year we must do it separately, because of a pandemic that is in and of itself a serious health and safety concern for all workers. So as we properly socially distance, we mourn together. On behalf of the 500,000 members of the affiliated unions of the British Columbia Federation of Labour, I bring sincere condolences to the families, to the co-workers, and to the friends of the 196 workers who lost their lives in British Columbia last year because of their work. I also want to express my gratitude to workers everywhere, every day, who fight for health and safety in their workplaces, and the courage that that takes. We've come a long way together, yet we have a long way to go. We must continue to hold to account anyone who puts the health and safety of workers at risk. So join with me today as we mourn for our dead, yet we continue to fight for our living.
Each April 28th, for more than 25 years, the Business Council of British Columbia has joined the BC Federation of Labour and WorkSafe to honor those that have lost their lives or been injured or experienced illness as a result of the workplace. We want to make sure that we recognize those that have lost their lives, and particularly at this time when we face a crisis together, a shared commitment to ensure that 100% of all preventable injuries and illness are stopped, and that everyone can make a contribution to the BC workplace. We have a shared responsibility to build that culture of safety, to look out for one another, and to ensure that British Columbia and its workers have the ability to go home to their families and enjoy their lives at the end of every day.
Over 1,000 workers lose their lives every year in this country, and many more have their lives changed forever by a workplace incident. The best way to pay tribute to these workers is to work to protect others. Once this crisis is over, we recommit ourselves to fighting for fair wages, paid sick leave, and proper job protections for all. As part of a people's recovery, we must go further to ensure that all workers have a healthy and safe workplace. In the context of this global pandemic, we recommit ourselves on this day of mourning to mourn for the dead and fight for the living.
On January 19, 2010, my dad went to work here in Vancouver. He was a professional painter, and that day his job was to paint the ceiling of a building somewhere in downtown. My dad's scaffolding started rolling. It caught onto something on the floor, and it tilted. My dad immediately went flying off the scaffolding from 40 feet above and landed on the hard floor, suffering a fatal head injury. They let us see him in the ICU. I held my dad's hand and I prayed and I prayed. I cried and I cried like I've never cried before. I didn't want it to be real. I had wished I was dreaming. Your life is so important, more important than the job that needs to get done. You are irreplaceable.
Siem na siya quo asultin quanisqui toitsink Musqueam. Friends and relatives, my name is Mack Paul. My ancestral name is Asultin, and I'm from Musqueam. Today's event was supposed to take place at Jackpool Plaza, which resides on traditional Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh territory. As we gather at a distance or virtually, let us keep each other close in our hearts and our thoughts until we are able to come together again in the future. Haichka.